السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أفضل الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. So over the last couple of weeks, we've spoken or started to speak about Ramadan. We could speak for a whole year, and we're not going to give Ramadan its due. It is the month in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had prescribed for us to fast. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen it for us. And the importance of this month can be summarized maybe by one hadith, a hadith Qudsi, meaning that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaking to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and saying to him that all of man's actions are for him, except for fasting. It is for me. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say that fasting is for him only. That we fast for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So from all of the actions that we do, fasting has been chosen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has described it. It belongs to him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just to give the understanding of the importance of the fast, whether it is Ramadan or non-Ramadan. Of course, Ramadan is fundamentally more important because it's a specific month of fard, of fasting. As we've mentioned, we've also spoken about how the first Ramadan, because you know Ramadan was ordered as a month to fast on the second year of Al-Hijrah in Medina. And on the third day, of course, it was Badr. So immediately you could see how the link of Ramadan, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن, the month in which the Quran was revealed. You could already see how Ramadan, Quran, jihad, and also ijtihad, which is to exert more for yourself, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that the sadaqat and the hasanat in Ramadan are multiple. And how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made one night in Ramadan better than 1,000 nights. And how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the i'tikaf in the last 10 days of Ramadan as something that is preferred for the Muslims. So already Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing this month as a month in which we can uniquely show and demonstrate this personality of a Muslim. Brother or sister, young or old, we are Muslims, and this is where we actually can demonstrate through Ramadan, through what we do and how we partake in this Ramadan, this unique personality. It gives us the possibilities of where we can forgive, where we can do more. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was always a kind, generous man, but in Ramadan he was double. Multiple that. The Sahaba were very generous people, seeing what Rasulullah ﷺ would do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes them in the Quran, especially the people of Medina, and he says to them, وَلَا يَجِدُونَ فِي صُدُورِهِمْ حَاجَةً مِمَّا أُوتُوا. They don't hold anything in their hearts from what Allah has given them. They want to share it with the muhajirin who came to them. So all of this is part of the personality of the Muslim. It also cleans us and cleanses us in ways that maybe we don't really think very carefully about. But if we think carefully of what Ramadan does for us, we will recognize how it improves us from the way we think, the way we judge, the way we make decisions, the way we inform ourselves, the way we look at our needs. As human beings, we have needs. We get hungry, we're thirsty, we want to make money, we want to build things. Ramadan teaches us a lot of aspects of that, gives us the ability to build those things. And if there is any loser, it's the loser who enters Ramadan and exits Ramadan without anything. Do not enter Ramadan and exit Ramadan and you've achieved nothing. That would be a grave loss. So what I want to do today is, we've spoken about many things over the last couple of weeks. What I want to focus on is 5 things that have to happen in Ramadan. Okay, so this is the Ahkam of Siyam because we're coming into Khalas. It's a couple of days to go. Inshallah, 3 days, maybe Sunday, Monday, we are into Ramadan. Okay? The earliest is Sunday, but most probably it will be Monday, inshallah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. As I think the crescent of Sha'ban was seen on the evening of the 10th of February. So it should be, February was 29 this year. So it should be Monday, inshallah ta'ala. Right. So fasting, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامِ. What is Siyam? Siyam in the Arabic language means imsak, means to withhold. Sama is withheld. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, where does anybody know an ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Sawm other than Siyam and Ramadan? Come on, you know. You do know. Sawm. Sawm. What did Ummana Maryam say? Maryam alayhi salam. What did she say? When they asked her, what is this that you bring to us? When she was carrying Isa alayhi salam in her hand, in her arms. إني نذرت للرحمن صوما. Exactly. That I have specifically to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that I will today not speak. Sawma. It's also not speaking. So it is withholding. Because Sawm is also imsak from kalam. Now Sawm in Sharia, from fiqh perspective, is to withhold from anything that could cause someone to be a muftar, meaning that they have broken their fast. And there are many things that can break your fast. Things have all got to do with the human body. Whether you eat, whether you drink, or whether if you're married and you end up, doing something that, with your wife and you shouldn't be during the day of Ramadan, these will all break your fast. Okay? But it is also withholding from these things with the intention, with niyyah of fasting. Now the niyyah is, the Shafi'is and the Malikis say that every night you have to make niyyah. Whereas the Hanbali and Hanafi say that if you've made the niyyah at the beginning of the month, that means it's for the whole month. And that you don't have to make niyyah for every day of the fast. So if you're Shafi'i, you have to, or Maliki, you have to make niyyah every day, every night before you do imsak, nawaitu siyam. And of course, niyyah is something in your heart. You don't have to. It's not spoken. It's not words that you state. Niyyah is in the heart, and it is from light, sort of from Fajr, or what is known as a Subh al-Sadiq, to the sunset, to غروب الشمس, إلى غروب الشمس. And very interestingly about that, because in the Quran it says حتى يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الأسود, that when you could see the black from white thread. So one of the Sahaba who put a thread between his toes, one black and one white, wanted to see which one he will see. And he said to Rasulullah, I can't. Rasulullah fasted, laughed, and he says, not like that. It is like this. And he was pointing to the sky, where if you look from east to west, you will see that the light starts to come, but the sky is still very dark. But if the side to the sunrise is light and changes color from the other side, which is still dark, that is the time. That is يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الأسود. Some have said the الخيط الأبيض من الأسود is at the horizon. But Rasulullah ﷺ did not. He said كذا وكذا. So this is what we take. And it is to complete it. So to complete between the moment that you withhold from food and water and all of the other items that can break your fast, until sunset, and to abstain from anything, shouting at people, screaming at people, insulting people, insinuating things about people, ghiba, namima, all of those things. And Rasulullah ﷺ says that whomever does not let go of qawl al-zur, which is lying with intention, or going around making false statements, then Allah doesn't need him to abstain from food and water, because it doesn't really make a difference, because he's broken his fast. So these are some of the things that will break a fast, and you have to be very careful of that. Okay. Anybody know any other things that can break your fast? What do you know? That could be, yes. What else? What happens if you're gargling and it... so anything that goes past the top, past the throat, and it goes in, whether it is food or not food. But there's differences on some people. Some people have said that if it's not food, then it doesn't break your fast. This is what Shafi'is have gone to. But others have said regardless. Hanbalis, for them, everything breaks your fast. And they have evidence, don't laugh. It's all evidence based. And I'll come to some of those also. Now, the conditions of fasting, you have to also understand the conditions of fasting. So you can't order everybody to fast. So Islam is one, because anybody who's not Muslim or murtad, there's no fasting, right? They have to be Muslims to fast. Al-aql. Because in Islam, we say rufi' al-aqlu an thalath. The pen has been lifted from 3. The child until they reaches the age, the sleep until he wakes up, and the insane until he returns to his faculty. Yeah. So this is al-aql. Al-bulugh, which is to reach that age, and al-itaqa. Al-itaqa means the capability to fast. You can't force somebody who's got type 1 diabetes, and you can't tell them you have to fast. It is a rukhsa for them not to fast. If they want to fast, they can fast, but you can't really tell them. Also, if a female has the monthly cycle, she cannot fast. Okay, not allowed. And also, you cannot fast the times that are prohibited. You cannot fast Jum'ah on its own. We're not allowed to fast Jum'ah on its own. We're not allowed to fast the 2 days of Eid, because those are the celebration days of the Muslims. We do not fast them. Okay? And the type of fasting is 4. The type of fasting is what is fard, and we know what is fard for us. It's Ramadan, and the kaffara. The kaffara meaning that you have done something, in which case the what's the word in English? That to you to gain back the acceptance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yes, expiation is to jazakallah khair. Expiation then is to fast. Okay? So qasam is one. If you've got 3 days, and others. There is also the nadhr, which is where people say, if Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I will fast for you this day, and they do this, and that's nadhr. There's also the mandub, which are the recommended actions, in which there are the 6 days of Shawwal, Mondays and Thursdays, the 3 days of each month, the 13, 14, 15 of each month, the day of Arafah, those are mandub. And we talked about the Muharram and the Makruh. That is, the Muharrams are the Jum'ah and the 2 days of Eid. And in terms of Makruh, it depends of where you are. So if Yom Arafah, for example, is mandub for you to fast. But if you're in Hajj, you don't fast it. Right? All right. So we also spoke extensively about the sighting of the moon and recognizing when to fast and when to break fast. And we spoke about that. I'm not going to repeat that. Anybody got any questions? We can cover that in the questions or in that. Now, there is the principle of qada and kaffara. So qada meaning that you have to make up. So in Ramadan, something may happen that causes you to break your fast. So there are two. There is one qada and kaffara, and there is one only qada. Qada and kaffara are basically where the Shafi'is basically, the Shafi'i opinion is qada and kaffara only occurs in the sense if a man and his wife end up doing, having their, marital during the day of during fasting. That's for Shafi'is. That's the only thing that causes qada and kaffara. For Malikiya, it's that plus forcing yourself to vomit, basically. Or you will have some reflex that comes out of your mouth. Or something reaching your stomach. And it doesn't have to be, somebody could swallow a pound or something like that. I don't know who would swallow a pound, but somebody could. For Malikis, that would be qada and kaffara. Hanafis and Hanbalis, they would even include even if it was a mistake. They don't mess around, right? So with one condition, that if you eat even by mistake, but you eat enough, you don't take 1 spoon or 2 spoons. No, you ate a whole plate. I mean, they've got a point, huh? Imam Abu Hanifa and Imam Ahmed, they've got a point here. That they say that that you satisfy your need until you fill up your stomach. I mean, I don't see how that could be my mistake. Huh? Okay, so or that the shahwa of the faraj also. Even if it is the intercourse, etc., and things like that. That can't be a mistake. And therefore, they have qada and kaffara. You've got to understand what kaffara is. Kaffara for siyam is not siyam. Kaffara for siyam is to free a slave. Now, good luck finding one these days, right? So this is, and it has to be raqabatun mu'mina. And therefore, it is a situation whereby this is what you have to do, okay? And let me just say one point here, because this is kafara and it comes to talk about freeing of a slave, etc., and things like that. One point that has to be understood by everybody: Islam prohibits slavery. Okay, there is no such thing as slavery in Islam. All of the ahkam in Islam are about freeing people. There is no hukum about taking people as slaves. It doesn't exist. Okay? Everything is about freeing them. And people like Abu Bakr as-Siddiq who spent all his money freeing people. Uthman ibn Affan was known as he would free, every Jum'ah, he would free one person throughout his life. Apparently, he freed 2,700 people in his lifetime. Subhanallah. Okay. And you will get a lot of people who will try to accuse Islam of the issue of slavery. Maybe we can cover that as a separate topic after Ramadan. Or maybe during Ramadan, one of the nights if we were together. Okay. Now, what you have to make up only is things that, in terms of something which by mistake reaches inside, past the throat, in terms of water, etc., or food, and also whether there is any desire which kind of leads to a what do you call it? ايش هو المذي؟ مذي ما هو المذي؟ مذي in English. I have no idea what مذي is in English, but anyway, it's what a male would would secrete if he's got a desire. Okay, so those are don't look shy. This is أحكام شرعية. We don't shy away in حكم شرعي. Okay. Another aspect of the أحكام of Ramadan is the permissibility of iftar, and that happens for a woman who is pregnant or is breastfeeding. Also for a person who's traveling, for a person who is ill or infirm, also for a woman who is in her menstrual period, or a woman who is past delivery of the child, and for 40 days after that, they call it a nafis. She cannot fast in those 40 days. Also, insanity, of course, as we said before. Those are the things that will permit you, because the pen is lifted from them. There's no taklif. There's no legal obligation on them. Now, al-musafir, very interestingly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. Yes, you can have several days. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that also, but if you can fast, it's better for you. خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. Okay? Fine. Now, what is recommended in Siyam? What is recommended in Siyam is that we accelerate iftar. So we don't delay iftar. As soon as it's sunset, we eat. And we push back sahur as far as possible. Okay? Now, in Ramadan, of course, i'tikaf is one of the things that are recommended. And it is very interesting. Imam Ahmad and Imam Shafi'i see it as a sunnah that Rasulullah did continuously. It is what they call sunnah mu'akkadah. That means the Rasulullah did continuously. The Maliki, Imam Malik sees it as mustahab, as recommended. And the Hanafis see it as a sunnah kifaya. That means if some people have done it, then it's lifted from all the others. Which is a very interesting opinion on i'tikaf. But this is what we do in terms of i'tikaf. Generosity in Ramadan is something that we do. من فطر مؤمنا فكان له أجره. Whoever gives a Muslim an iftar will also get their reward, or will get a similar reward. And that's why you have people always competing to kind of put up iftars, and they put all these lavish meals, etc. But one of the very, very important things that we have to understand, maybe at your age you don't have to worry about it, but at my age I have to worry about it, but this is the sunnah of Rasulullah. When we eat, that a third for your food, a third for your water, and a third to breathe. You don't get up and say, I had too much, and you can roll over and kind of fall to the side and you're in pain. That's not what fasting is about, right? Fasting is for us to understand. Fasting is for us to recognize. Fasting is for us to identify with all of the difficulties and the challenges and the decisions that others have to go through. It is for us to be closer to ourselves, closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and closer to our brothers and sisters. And this Ramadan, of course, is a Ramadan beyond all the Ramadans that I have seen, or at least for the last 20 years. Ramadan this year, upon the Muslims, there's a lot going on. We know what's going on in Palestine. We know what's going on in Sudan. We know what continues to go on in Yemen. We know what's continuing on in Libya. We know what's continuing on in Sham. All of this. This brotherhood, this understanding of everybody and what they need and what they require, and is critical for us. This brotherhood is very, very important. And the whole of Ramadan has always been about the collective. Islam is never about the individual. Yes, we will be held accountable individually, but we don't get the benefit from our own individual greed and individual view of ourselves, me, myself, and I. That's not how Islam works. Islam is always about the collective. Otherwise, we could just sit at home and do tasbih and do salah and etc. and forget about the mosques and forget about halaqas like this, forget about sharing the knowledge, forget about trying to get people to improve and people to be better. But Islam is about the collective. And it is about making sure that everything is shared. Look at the 3 ayat in Surah Al-Hashr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لِلْفُقَرَاءِ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ, for the impoverished muhajir who came only to give what? يَنْصُرُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. They only came to give victory for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الصَّادِقُونَ. They are the truthful. Then goes on, the next ayah, straight after it. وَالَّذِينَ تَبَوَّأُوا الدَّارَ وَالْإِيمَانَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. Those who became part of the Dar of Iman. Medina was the Dar of Iman. This is what we call Darul Iman, Darul Islam. That means the state of Islam. It was there. They were there because they were the first ones who were there. يُحِبُّونَ مَنْ هَاجَرَ إِلَيْهِمْ. They love who came to them. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the first thing he did when he did, he combined them as brothers. All of them, brothers and brothers and brothers and brothers. They say Ali ibn Abi Talib was the only one that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not make a brother with anyone. And he got upset. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam looked at him and he said, why are you upset, Ya Ali? He says, you made everybody a brother with anyone, and what about me? He says, you are my brother. So there's Ali ibn Abi Talib got the major gift from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in the 3rd ayah, وَالَّذِينَ جَاءُوا مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ يَقُولُونَ رَبَّنَا اغْفِرْ لَنَا وَلِإِخْوَانِنَا الَّذِينَ سَبَقُونَا بِالْإِيمَانِ. Allah, اغْفِرْ لَنَا, forgive us and those who were before us. الَّذِينَ سَبَقُونَا بِالْإِيمَانِ. رَبَّنَا وَلَا تَجْعَلْ فِي قُلُوبِنَا غِلًّا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Allah, do not leave any enmity or dislike or any disposition that where we would regret about the ones who were before us. So those 3 ayat explain the brotherhood in Islam, explain who we are and why we are, and explains why Islam is this cauldron that actually kind of melts everybody in it. Doesn't really matter who you are. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where you come from. Doesn't matter what language you speak. Doesn't matter how tall, how short, how big, it doesn't really matter. What matters is La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Really does not matter. So Ramadan allows us to understand all of this, allows us to recognize all of this. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the shayateen are locked up, that the Jannah opens its doors. So remember, one of the greatest gifts in Ramadan is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made one of the 7 gates of Jannah is only for Bab al-Rayyan, and it's only for those who fast. Bab al-Sa'imin. That gate is for those who fast for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is a massive month. Don't lose it. There are a number of things that you need to do before. Make sure to get the best out of Ramadan. We went through the Ahkam, we went about a number of things. We will then, of course, you've got Salah Taraweeh, but it's also about thinking, about reflecting on your year, reflecting on those that you haven't spoken to for a while, remembering your families. Silat al-Rahim is critical. You know, those who disconnect their rahim, rahim meaning your closest family from the same womb. If you disconnect from them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibit Jannah for you. لا يدخلن الجنة قاطع رحم. So we have to be very careful. This is why Islam is so strong. People think, I say La ilaha illallah Rasulullah, I go to Jannah. Yes, you will go to Jannah. But what happens in between, I have no idea. It's up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nobody enters Jannah except for the mercy of Allah. So there are all kinds of things. Do not allow any of your activities and actions to be activities and actions so people say, MashaAllah, look at him, he's done the 20 rak'ahs. MashaAllah, look, he's finished the khitmah 3 times this Ramadan. Don't let, all of these things are between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't let yourself or your inner person wanting to kind of say, tell everybody, look what I'm doing. I'm the champion of this. There is no championship. There's no medals to be given. The reward is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not from me, not from anybody around you. Entering Ramadan also, make sure that you've asked anybody that you think that you have ever oppressed, or anybody that you have ever insulted, or I hope you've done none of those, but if you've done any of that, make sure you get the forgiveness. Make sure if you owe anybody your money, either give them the money back, or at least make sure that they understand that you can't give them the money back right now, but you will. Make sure that you enter this Ramadan with all intentions to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that you are clean, so that you can gain the most and maximize the benefit of this month. Okay? So Jazakumullah khair. I'll leave it to, if you have any questions, or I'm sure you got lots of questions. Yeah,
for instance, before you said that if we swear, then you break our fast.
Yes.
What if I swear mistakenly? For instance, I just go by and I don't know, break my toe, stuff like this.
Yeah, okay. So the swearing here is about swearing to someone. So it's a swearing of insulting someone else. So, but try not to, try to always keep Allah in your, it's like a astaghfirullah, or, as soon as if something like that happens by mistake, yes. But it's the insulting of others is the swearing that is meant about the swearing here. But any 4-letter words, try and keep them to yourself. always try to remember, try and, it takes time. But it's a very good point that you raised, that those, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, al-kadhimin al-ghayz, those who withhold their anger. That 4-letter word that you'd say when you kind of bump into something and hurt your head, or hurt your toe or your knee or something like that, that is anger because of the reaction that you have. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, al-kadhimin al-ghayz, those who hold their anger. And that is restraint. And learning self-restraint is one of the things that Ramadan teaches us. And understanding that ability to have self-restraint is critical. Yeah, go ahead.
If you have to make up some of your fasts for whatever reason, is it better to do them straight away, or can you do them at any point?
The opinions differ, but if you, the general consensus is you have to get them done before the next Ramadan. Okay? So that's the general consensus. There are some who would tell you as soon as possible. Of course, many people will say, well, I have to fast the 6 days of Shawwal, etc., and all that. So fast the 6 days of Shawwal, but immediately after it, you have to make up Ramadan. Please. Madhi or mani? Yes. Mani. Now there are of course. Yeah. Mani is a sperm. Now mani, 2 things. If you're asleep, okay, and the mani comes out, that's a wet dream. That's fine. There's nothing like this. That actually does not break your fast. Okay, let's say you fell asleep after Fajr and you wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's that doesn't. Of course, you have to do ghusl because you got to do salah, but it doesn't. However, there are no. Mani also, of course, can come through either intercourse or from you maybe seeing something that that arouses and things like that. That is what comes into the issue of qada and kafara. Okay. If it was deliberate, then it's qada and kafara. If it was not deliberate, then it is qada. Okay, but with qada, you have to continue the fast for the day. Doesn't mean that it happened. Okay, khalas, it happened. That means I can start eating and all that. No, you finish the day and then you do your qada. The madi can break your fast if it came out with desire. Okay, so let's see. Somebody sent you a stupid video or something like that, and you're watching it. Oh my god, and something happens. Okay, all right. So, well, I mean, yes, it could be with your wife, and you hug and you kiss and things like that, and that could come out. Yes, that will break your fast. Okay, because it is the shahwa, it is the desire, and the desire is one of the things that actually breaks the fast. Because we are supposed to do imsak, we're supposed to withhold. That's what sawm is. So anything that breaks a sawm, the imsak, from all of the things I said, then that causes that to happen. Go.
So during Juma, there is like no fasting at all, right?
No. What do you mean? During Ramadan?
During Ramadan.
No, of course you fast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about Ramadan, Jum'ah, let's say in June, yeah, which is going to be Hajj time. Yeah, you don't fast Friday on its own. Typically, any time of the year, I mean, Ramadan, you have to fast the 30 days, all 30 days. However, in Jum'ah on its own, in other days, you don't. For example, Sha'ban, the month we're in now. So the 11th of the 12th of Sha'ban was a Thursday. 13th of Sha'ban was Friday. 14th of Sha'ban was Saturday, and 15th was the Sunday, and then 16th of Sha'ban was a Monday. So some people were fasting Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because it was the Thursday and the Monday you fast every week if you want. Plus there was 3 days in the middle of the 13, 14, 15. So you fast that. So that was so you can fast Friday, but not on its own. You cannot just say I'm going to fast today, Friday. That's not one of the makruh days that shouldn't be fasted.
So if you do Thursday and Friday, that's fine.
Yes, Thursday, Friday is fine. Friday and Saturday is fine, because sometimes you get Tasu'a and Ashura could be Friday, Saturday.
Is there any specific reason for this?
Friday?
Yeah.
It's just there is no. It's a very interesting question you mentioned. Let me kind of take a step back first, and I'll come to the point. In Sharia, when it comes to our ibadat, so we're talking about salah, siyam, hajj, zakah, jihad, they are what are known as ahkam tawqifiyya. That means they are fixed, invariable ahkam. We take it as has been given to us. Because Rasulullah says, "Khudu anni manasikakum." Take from me your rituals and your actions that you have to worship Allah by. So those are the ones that we have to take as they are. So coming to that question is then the hadith that Friday, don't fast Friday on its own. Okay.
So to confirm, if we fast on Thursday, then if we do continuation, then we can do on Friday.
Yes. In normal months. Yeah. But in Ramadan you have to fast Friday. It's part of the 30 days. Okay?
during Ramadan, a lot of people stay up from after iftar to sahur, right?
Yeah.
So for like night prayers, so tahajjud, you have to sleep before it and wake up, or can you just stay up and do that?
It is part of Sunnah to have a sleep. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it says that when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam entered Medina, he made brothers. And the two he made brother, one of the groups that he made brothers was Salman al-Farisi and Abu Dharr al-Ghafari. And so Salman went to visit Abu Dharr, and Abu Dharr was staying up all night and was fasting all day. And so Salman said to him, he said, your family has a right. You can't just fast all day and stay up all night. And well, what about your wife? She has some rights. She has rights. Your body has rights. وَلِبَدَنِكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقٍّ. Your body has rights. وَلِرَبِّكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقٍّ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has rights also, or obligations based upon you. So you have to do that. So he told him to sleep and to wake up, and to fast and to break fast, and to spend time with his family. So we do all three. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Innani asumu wa aftar." I fast and I break fast, and I marry and I divorce, and all the things that he went through. So we have to understand that there are certain things that were given that are specific to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there are certain things that then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said no. So if you look at the end of Surah مش المدثر ايش الثانية؟ المزمل. جزاك الله خير. If you look at the end of المزمل, yeah, the surah very clearly says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recognizes that some of you cannot stay up all night. Some of you will go for jihad. Some of you will going to go to work. Some of you will be ill. Some of you will be incapable. فعفى عنكم. فاقرأوا ما تيسر منه. Okay? So you should take a break. Okay? Because it's not about harming yourself. We're not like some of the sects that beat themselves up, and right, in not only in Islam but in others also.
So I'll continue on tahajjud.
Yeah.
So from my knowledge, like order would be first Isha, Sunnah, then tahajjud, then witr. And in this case, if it is Sunnah to wake up at night to pray tahajjud, can we technically pray tahajjud like without sleeping?
Okay, let's clarify some things. So you got Isha, Sunnah of Isha, then what is known as Salatul Qiyam, which is the Taraweeh. Okay, minimum is 4 rak'ahs. That's the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You can then do another 4 at home to make 8. Some people go up to 20. Okay, then they will do witr. And then what is known as tahajjud is something that's done after midnight. Okay, which is what is known as Salatul Qiyam. But tahajjud only happens at the last 10 days of Ramadan. Now, during the whole of Ramadan, you can do Salatul Qiyam like you do in every normal day of the month, of the year. But additionally, people do more. Sometimes they might do 2 rak'ahs during the year, but they might do 4 or 8 rak'ahs. It's really entirely up to you what you do. Sometimes, people during the year might wake up for 10 minutes in the middle of the night, and they will read a few ayat, and they'll go back to sleep. In Ramadan, they will read a quarter or a half of, or maybe a whole chapter, a whole juz'. So that will be qiyam. Tahajjud happens after the 20th of Ramadan. So the night of the 21st, night 22nd, 23rd, 24th, up to the end of Ramadan. That clearer?
So tahajjud is not bound to like every day, but for certain periods of time.
Yeah, tahajjud is what happens right at the end of Ramadan. What is known as tahajjud these are more modern, naming conventions. So tahajjud, what the Muslims kind of recognize now these days, tahajjud is what they do in the last 10 days of Ramadan, whilst Taraweeh is what they do throughout Ramadan after Isha. Salatul Qiyam is something they will continue to do. However, when it comes to the last 10 days of Ramadan, because they have tahajjud takes over the Qiyam because it's similar. But you can do Qiyam and continue to do Qiyam throughout the month.
Ah, okay. Yeah. It seems that I was mistaking tahajjud and qiyam.
Yes. Yeah. So Qiyam, Salatul Qiyam is what is, it can be Taraweeh, and it could also be Qiyam also later on at night. So because some of the Sahaba would pray 4 in the mosque and then they would go and pray more at home. Rasulullah ﷺ did 4, did 8, but then he stopped some nights because he said, I didn't want to make it fard for you. So then he used to do more at home in his home. Okay?
The minimum for qiyam is 4.
It is sunnah. Look, all of this is sunnah. So we have to, and don't let me say, some people say, it's sunnah, no, that's not what is intended. What is, when you know the hukum shar'i, then you get rewarded from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you know it is sunnah, you don't have to do it, but you're doing it for Allah. You're doing it because you want the greatest reward, you want the highest grades, you want the multiplication of the hasanat. That's why you do. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَفِي ذَلِكَ فَلْيَتَنَافَسِ الْمُتَنَافِسُونَ. And in that shall the competitors compete. That is what the Sahaba used to compete with each other. Who's going to do more for Allah and His Messenger? Yeah? This is the sunnah. So don't, some people kind of say, it's sunnah. No. Sunnah is very important. Where do you want to be? Jannah has multiple levels. Where do you want to be? You have to buy it. Yeah, so you're bidding for it with your actions, with your activities, with your desire to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by showing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what you're capable of achieving. And also to train yourself and to train your body and to subjugate it to Allah.
So the ideal order would be doing Isha, Sunnah 2 rak'ah, then 4 qiyam, then witr.
Then witr. And then later on at night, this is the first 20 days, later on at night, if you want to do more qiyam, you will have to do witr again. Okay? That's some of the opinions. That's why a lot of people don't do witr after Taraweeh. They hold it and they do it later because they know they're going to do qiyam themselves at home. So they might do 4, 8 in the mosque. I don't know, how many rak'ahs do you do here? 8. Yeah, 8. So maybe you want to do 20. So you'll do the 8 here. You're not going to do the single witr. You're going to go back to your room and then maybe 2-3 hours later you want to do another 4 rak'ahs. And then you do witr. Okay? When it comes to the last 10 days of Ramadan, it will be normally what people would do is they would pray 4 of Isha, 2 Sunnah, 4 rak'ahs of Taraweeh, okay? And then they will come back after midnight, they will pray 4 more, what is known as Qiyam, or what is known as Tahajjud, yeah? That's the longer one. Okay? Yeah, good. Inshallah. Yeah, please.
In our country, we call every time you pray at night, we call it tahajjud.
Yes.
Not only in Ramadan.
Yes.
Is it true?
That's true. They try to differentiate a little bit about Ramadan by saying Salatul Qiyam and Salatul Tahajjud.
Is there any difference between Salatul Qiyam and Tahajjud?
No, they're all meaning the same thing because you're doing it for Allah. It's just the timing and phrasing for Ramadan is different. It is look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us permission and Allah likes us to take the permission.
I just want to now we have all the facility. From one airport to other airport, you will get the food and everything. So it is good to, it's a good practice to take the fast.
Yeah, I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does say in the Quran, okay, although the permission is there, so the ayah is very clear, although the permission is there, وَإِن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ, and if you fast, it's better for you.
No, what I'm saying is that if you're traveling from UK to India,
Yeah.
when you reach there, you fast from here.
Well, I mean, if you leave here, you might halfway on the halfway. I mean, I think by the time you reach the Middle East, you break fast anyway.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
you should follow the time of India.
Yeah. The time. No. It's not the timing of India. It will be the time. It will be exactly where you see. So if you're on the plane, let's say you leave here at 10 o'clock in the morning, okay, especially now in winter, and you're traveling across. Right? By the time you leave here at 10 o'clock in the morning, already it is 11 o'clock in Europe. It's already 12 o'clock in Turkey. It's already 1 o'clock in the Middle East. So by the time you then cross, it takes about 4-5 hours to reach Jordan. So by the time you're flying across, it's already iftar time. Yeah? So by the time you get to Jordan, it's iftar. You haven't got to India yet. Yeah? So you will have to make iftar there and then, because on the plane, as soon as the sun sets, you make iftar.
Based on the hadith of
The Dajjal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. The end of times. Yes. Yeah.
Based on that,
No. That's not based on that. No. Look, the hadith of the Dajjal, and that is very specific, very unique, very detailed about a specific situation at a specific time. You cannot make qiyas with that with now. You cannot make analogy with now, because we're not at that time. Right? I know some people make that qiyas. They try to do certain things. That's not right. That's not the correct way to do it. But I'll tell you a funny story about fasting on an airplane. So if you're going from west to east, it's okay. Imagine you're going from London to America. The sun doesn't set. Right? That was my experience. First time I get on there, I said, it was the last day, two days of Ramadan. I'm not gonna break fast. Last 2 days of Ramadan. So I get on the airplane, and it's like, oh yeah, okay. And the sun never set. 14 and a half hours later, sun didn't set until I got to the West Coast. So I ended up fasting 2 days, I think, in one. That's what happens, right? So you have to. That's why Allah subhanahu wa taala does say, gives you the permission. Please. Yes. Rasulullah ﷺ says witr, meaning odd numbers. So 1, 3, 5. It didn't say 3, didn't say 1, didn't say 5. It says witran. So the only hadith where Rasulullah ﷺ speaks of a specific number on dates is about ajwa, and he talks about 7. But that's specifically about a cure rather than about iftar. But for iftar, Rasulullah ﷺ always said, witran, odd numbers. But there's no specificity. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 21. It's really entirely about how much you can eat. Okay? I mean, I might get 1, 3, but enough. Another person might want 7. Another might. I've seen a young child once who loved dates so much. I think he ate the whole box. Yeah, mashallah. Anything else? Questions? Go ahead, ask us.
Well, he said something about repatriation or do this
Expiation. Expiation is kafara. Now, kafara is when you have made something that is wrong, that you need to expiate yourself. That means to cleanse yourself, and that is a hukm shar'i around kafara. And kafara comes in a number of ways, but in terms of fasting in Ramadan, it comes when you've actually done something that is prohibited, that actually breaks the fast. And the unique one where all of the consensus is about intercourse with your wife.
There was an Islamic page, I read a comment. One said, I'm 70 years old and I haven't asked any man yet. What should I do?
What they have to do is they have to make up those days. So they have to take a point of when they actually themselves know they reached the age. So the first time that they got a wet dream, or as soon as mani has come out, then they have reached that age. Then they need to think of that and think of how many Ramadans that is. I mean, they're 17. It could have happened when they were 15 or 14. So they probably 70.
Yeah.
La ilaha illallah. And he's probably at an age now that he can't really fast because he's probably old. He has to.
Isn't there like different opinions on it? For example, people who don't pray, they like maybe pray sunnahs.
Well, no, you can't pray sunnahs. You have to actually, if the salah itself, you have to make it up. It has to be the niyyah of the 4 rak'ahs of dhuhr that I missed, the 4 rak'ahs.
But some scholars they say that if you don't pray, then you're basically so like you don't have to like pray those again. Just, like,
Yeah.
do more good deeds.
Yeah, the only imam who actually said about a person who does not do salah as a kafir is Imam Ahmed. But then the debate with Imam Shafi'i, he kept quiet when he told him, you can't, the only way that someone is a kafir is if they reject Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if they have not done salah, they have to make up that salah. Leave the two opinions aside in terms of kafir or not kafir and all that. Just leave that aside. But the hukum of salah, you have to do salah. Because there are hadith of Rasulullah that if you don't do the salah here, you'll have to do it in hell. As a Muslim, you'll have to make it up. So make it up here, and make it up with the niyyah that, let's say you pray Isha with us today, and somebody who has not done Isha remembers that I haven't done Isha while I was 20 or whatever. I don't think any of you are 20 yet anyway. So, just do qada, 4 rak'ahs of Isha qada, 4 rak'ahs of Dhuhr qada, 4 rak'ahs of Asr qada, 3 rak'ahs of Maghrib qada, 2 rak'ahs of Fajr qada. It's something that if you know, don't say that, oh, maybe I think. No, there's no maybe I think. I know or I don't know.
So, for instance, for those Muslims who, let's consider one who is 30 years old and he started to actually practice and he became Muslim around 29, right? Oh, yeah. So he has to make up for all the salahs starting from, like, for instance, he's 13 or 14.
No. If somebody has entered Islam now, then they are forgiven for everything. Let's say even if they're 90 and they've entered Islam, they're forgiven of everything that's before. Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't understand. That's what you were saying.
Basically the same question.
No, this is somebody who's new to Islam.
Oh, what if,
No, he said he's like newly practicing, but he was like
yeah,
Newly practicing or new to Islam?
yeah, okay, let's consider both cases.
Okay.
Yeah, the one who newly entered Islam and the one who was born Muslim,
Yeah.
but he was not practicing, but then still
Okay.
practicing.
All right. So the one who is a Muslim born not practicing is the same as I've said to our brother here.
Makeup.
You have to make it up. There's no kidding. You have to make up. You have to make up a lot of things. You have to make up not only the salah. You have to make up the Ramadan you haven't fasted. You have to make up the zakah you haven't paid. Yeah, there's so much. Yeah, there's a lot you have to make up. And you better make it up here rather than in front of Allah. Sorry, I'll come one. And so just to continue to the second part of your question, which is a new Muslim. Somebody who says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah right now for the first time. Then that person, all of what preceded that day is forgiven. Okay? That is the gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to a new Muslim. Okay? However, if they're a murtad, that means they were a Muslim and they became a disbeliever and then came back to Islam, there are differences of opinion on that, whether they have to make up or not make up. There are differences in terms of the different madhab. And that's a bit of a bigger debate and discussion. Okay?
I heard one sheikh that said, near judgment, you miss some prayers, Allah will look at the voluntary prayers.
Will look into your voluntary prayers. It could be, but how many? Because the voluntary prayers are, that is the gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give or not give. The opinions in some are that the voluntary prayers do not cover the compulsory prayers. But there's a big debate on that one. So be safe.
Voluntary prayer?
The sunnah, yeah? The voluntary prayer. So basically the 2 rak'ahs after Fajr, before Fajr, the 2 before and after Dhuhr. Tahiyyat al-masjid, when you enter a masjid and you do 2 rak'ahs, those are voluntary prayers. So whether they're sunnah or whether they are nawafil.
Oh, for instance, let's consider that one person is doing Jamaat every day, and each Salah is like 27 times he did this Salah. So, can he use that to...
I can't answer that.
Oh.
That is beyond the faculty of a human mind. That is something up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. If it was that easy, we would do a lot of things ourselves. But this is up to Allah's mercy. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that even I cannot enter Jannah without Allah's mercy. And this is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hey, أرفع صوتي ولا؟ حبيبي تفضل.
Let's say you intended to pray the 2 sunnah before Fajr, but you came and they're already doing Jamaat.
Yeah.
You joined the Jamaat.
Yeah. Yeah.
You then pray the 2 sunnah after.
Yes. Yep. That's what's recommended to be done. I mean, a lot of time, the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to pray the 2 rak'ahs of Sunnah al-Fajr at home before he came out to the mosque. So as soon as you do wudu, do the 2 rak'ahs and come back down. Because even if you reach the last rak'ah, as long as you get to the Jama'at before he says, the Imam says, Salamu alaikum, you've got Jama'at. Yeah? Except, of course, for Jum'ah. Jum'ah is different. Jum'ah, you have to reach the final rak'ah. To get the benefit of Jama'ah of Jum'ah as 2 rak'ahs, you have to be there before the Imam stands up from his ruku' of the 2nd rak'ah. Otherwise, if you've missed that, you have to complete 4 rak'ahs of Dhuhr. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's say if you're making up, let's say it's Dhuhr time, you miss Dhuhr, and that's Asr time. You pray Asr and then make up Dhuhr, or you make up Dhuhr?
Yeah. Look, there are differences in that opinion. There are those who say that Salah is Ratiba, and therefore you have to enter with the niyyah of Dhuhr with the Jama'ah and then pray Asr. Some say no, it doesn't matter, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam missed Fajr and the sun came up and it was almost Dhuhr. They prayed Dhuhr and then Fajr. So it depends. The differences of opinion is not because of not awareness or knowledge. It's because of the tools of ijtihad that they have. It may be that the hadith they didn't get. These days it's easier for us. We've got the whole World Wide Web. With a flick of a button, you can get every single hadith. Imagine in the days of Imam Malik or Imam Abu Hanifa or Ahmad or Ibn Taymiyyah, They didn't have what we have now. Today you can have all of the 9 books of Sahih on your phone and you can search them and you can get every single one together. They didn't have all those at that time. So, but still, we have to remember that there are certain tools, especially in the linguistics and the language, and that we have to understand. But both opinions are there. Sorry, and then you, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Intentionally misses prayers.
If he's in marriage, if he's in a marriage function, and he just postponed, he just postponed the time. Like it is in the river time, the marriage is going on. So he said that I will pray after the function like that, and it goes after Asr. It actually he is able to do that, but he didn't do it. Will he be a kafir?
No, that's not the question. No, kufr is a major thing. Okay.
Person who essentially didn't do the
That he's sinful, but he's not kafir. Okay, athim walaysa kafiran. Kufr has to be something that you actually intentionally say that I don't have to do salah. You're rejecting the hukum of Allah. This person did not reject the hukum of Allah. He's just, shaitan has whispered to him, and yeah, don't worry, you got time. It happens to all of us. Okay? Yeah, don't worry, just finish this paragraph. Just finish this page. Just finish the assignment and upload it, and then you can go do salah. And before you know it, it's Maghrib. It does happen, right? But what we have to do is that is sinful, but it's not kufr, because he did not reject salah. He knows he has to pray. We know we have to pray. We know we have the time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us such a wide time to do dhuhr. From the time that the sun passes the zenith until it is, double length of the shadow. If you're Hanafi, you can go up to double length of the shadow. So there's plenty of time. In summer, you're talking about between, maybe here in Swansea, maybe you're talking about 1:30 to all the way up to almost 5 o'clock if you're Hanafi, or even 6 if you're Hanafi, to pray dhuhr. Yeah. If you're Shafi'i, it's a bit shorter because they only take one length of the shadow, but that could be between 1:30 and 3:30 in summer. So you got 2 hours to pray. Yes. Because Rasulullah says there are multiple hadith, but I'll give you 2. Rasulullah says that he was in Mecca, and that Jibreel alayhi salam came to him to teach him salah, and he told him about the timings. So he came to him Fajr when it was just about to be light, and he prayed with him Fajr. Came to him Dhuhr as soon as there was the sun had just passed the zenith, so there was a small shadow. He came to him to Asr when there was, the shadow was a length and a little bit more. Maghrib as soon as the sun set, and Isha as soon as the red crescent, the red horizon had set. Yeah. So then the second day, Rasulullah was ready for Fajr. Jibreel didn't come. Waited until it was almost sunrise. Jibreel came and prayed with him. And did the same thing with Dhuhr. Waited until it was almost 2 lengths, and he prayed with him Dhuhr. And prayed with him Asr when it was 2 lengths and more, just before the sun became, red. Maghrib came to him just before the red sky had set, and came to him at Isha after, when the sky was almost dark. And he said to him, Salatuka bayna hadha wa hadha. Your salah is between this and this. No, just before sunrise. So let's say, what is your sunrise here? It's not going to show here. Okay. So sunrise, I think this morning was 6:45. Yeah, I think it was 7, not quarter to 7, 7:45 this morning, sunrise. 6:45. That's quarter to 7. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. No, before you. I think brother here. Yeah.
About Nazar.
Nether. Yeah.
Can you give us more information
Okay.
about its hukum?
Okay. Nether is not something that is recommended by some of the madhab. Shafi'is don't like it. But if they say, if you make another, say, if Allah, if you save my son, I will do this, or if I succeed in this trade, I will do this, and this is another from you, or I will do this for you, Ya Allah. This is from you that you want to give to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but you make it as another. That is something that you have to fulfill because it's something you promised Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can't run away from that. Okay? Whether it's money, whether it's fast, whether it's salah, whether it is extra sadaqah, whether it's extra, those kind of things. It may be that you make another that I will do umrah or something like that.
And what if you can't?
Fulfill it. It's a debt you owe to Allah.
Say something that's beyond your power.
Shouldn't say it. Look, it depends. Some of the madhabs have exit clauses, and it depends really how you said it. Okay? I can look into it for you in detail if you want. That's why I stay away from another. I did it a few times, and then I said to him, no, be careful. Yeah.
You said you should try and extend it. Do as late as possible.
Sorry? Yes.
As late as possible, but obviously, like here, for example, we don't know the exact minute that it's going to be. So we use the timing from, I use the timing from the city month. That's like the first one that has an official time. Is that valid? Like, you use that time?
You can use the timing, but I mean, you've got a beautiful view out here. You can go out and see it for yourself. I mean, tomorrow morning, it should be a clear morning. You'll be able to see it exactly when it's light. I mean, I think it is, let me just think correctly. I think it's around 6:15 these days. No, that's sunrise. No, it's about half an hour to 40 minutes before that the white kind of, when the sky is half white, half dark. By white I don't mean it's like this. No, you can see the light. You can see the difference between the light blue and the dark blue. Is the الخيط الأبيض من الأسود. Ibrahim will show you. He knows. تفضل حبيبي. Yeah. Yeah.
Would that mean like everybody here is like from different countries, background?
Yeah.
Would that mean that everyone would have like iftar at their own time?
No, iftar is different because iftar is said sunset.
Yeah, but
غروب الشمس. It's not the salah. So this is where we have to understand. The ahkam are tied to specific what we call in Arabic, we call it mas'ala fiqhiyya. So it's for a fiqhi issue. So a fiqhi issue is salah, is siyam, hajj, bay', shira'. Each one is a mas'ala. So each one is an issue. So when we talk about siyam, there's only ahkam for siyam. So
it depends on madhab.
no, it depends on the madhab, but none of them.
Madhab salah.
No, it's not about maghrib. It doesn't link to maghrib salah. It links to ghurub al-shams because it says about siyam, talks about withholding from food and abstaining from food and water and all of the other things that are prohibited in Islam, in the fast, between the first light to ghurub al-shams. So that's different to salah. Because salah, we don't do salah at غروب الشمس. We do salah after غروب الشمس. No, eat is different. Eat is one thing, and pray is something else, because they're two different mas'alas. Yeah, the adhan will be called. The adhan will be called. These days, the adhan is called directly, and they make the adhan in. How can I explain it? So, for us in fasting, it's the sunset itself. Usually, if you look at the timings of the adhan, it's not sunset. It's about a minute or 2 minutes after sunset. So if you look at the timings, if you go to the what's the website called for the British Astronomical Society, they've got like the tables of sunrises and sunsets of every single city in the country. If you look at the time for Maghrib here at 6:13, okay, that's the Iqama. So it was 6:09 tonight. I think it was 6:09. If you look at 6:09, that's not sunset. Sunset would have been about 6:08. If you look at yeah. But you can actually, but if it comes to Siyam, you can break your fast at 6:08. You better be safe. Any other questions? No? Okay. Any questions? I don't know if Uthman, was there anyone upstairs? Is there a question upstairs? Yeah, okay. Yalla, okay. Yalla, jazakumullah khair wa barakallah fikum. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give the Muslims victory and to give us, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, izzah in this dunya, and for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept all of our work, to accept all our deeds, and to make us, inshallah, righteous, and to make us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, guardians of this deen, and to worship Him as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should be worshipped. Jazakumullah khair wa barakallah fikum.